Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We are ready for our regular board meeting. Today is November the 16th, and the time is 4:28. And since this is recently past Veterans Day, we're going to be patriotic again. So we'll, Dr. Smith, will you lead us in the pledge?
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So the regular board meeting of the Board of Trustees of El Paso Community College is being held today, November 16th. And this meeting is being held in the Administrative Service Center located at 9050 Viscount Board of Trustees, Room 200, El Paso, Texas, viewable through the Epcc YouTube channel at El Paso Community College YouTube. Ms. Bell, will you call us?
Yes.
Roll
Mrs.
call,
Robles. Mrs. Robles.
Present.
Mr. Uxer.
Here.
Ms. Sanchez.
Here.
Ms. Nájera.
Here.
Dr. Graham.
Here.
Mr. Haggerty won't be here, neither will Ms. Pina.
Okay, we will go to the approval of minutes.
We're going to go down to 1.5. Welcome to guests and staff members.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. We're glad you're here. Guests and staff members. Do we have anyone for open forum?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, do we have then next approval of minutes?
Approval of, item 1.4, approval of minutes. This includes the September 22nd, 2021 Facilities and Finance meeting minutes. September 22nd, 2021, the regular Board of Trustees meeting minutes. October 2nd, 2021, special meeting minutes. October 21st, 2021, Facilities and Finance meeting minutes. And the October 21st, 2021, regular board meeting minutes.
Move to approve. Second.
Is there any discussion? No, if not, call the question.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Ms. Nájera.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye. I would like to mention that on the minutes, we have quite a few staff members that received all kinds of either awards or accolades, and I think we should put those on a billboard. They would look really nice. Presentations by individuals?
Section 1.7, presentations by individuals, groups, and organizations. 1.7.1, Dr. Andrew Peña, Executive Director of Human Resources, will present the college district and with the National 2021 Higher Education Excellence in Diversity HEED Award for the 9th consecutive year.
Ooh, it's good.
Dr. Graham, esteemed board members, Dr. Serrata, EPCC cabinet, and honors guest, I'd like to ask Ms. Josette Chauncey to join us here at the podium. We have some very special news to present to all of you. We are very pleased and honored to present to you today the 2021 HEED Award sponsored by the Insight into Diversity magazine. This is the 9th consecutive year that the college has been bestowed this prestigious honor. Most importantly, this award symbolizes the college's effort in keeping diversity and inclusion as part of our daily agendas. Through its events, programs, collaborations, and multiple activities, the message of diversity and inclusion has been well and alive at EPCC for many, many years. The award, which has been recognized nationally for the past 9 years, is also something we can be very proud of. We were the only community college in the state of Texas to receive this award, and we're one of 10 higher ed institutions to be awarded as well in the state of Texas. I'd be remiss not to mention that the success in attaining the HEAT Award for so many years has not been the work of one, but many. This work would include the many internal college departments who assisted in completing our annual application. These efforts also had the support of our Vice President for Finance and Administrative Operations, Ms. Josette Shaughnessy. The work toward the HEAT Award process also involved the effort of the existing Diversity and Inclusion Program staff, Mr. Lee Vasquez behind me, and Ms. Luz Avila. But it also wouldn't have happened without the diligent and dedicated work of our former Director of Diversity and Inclusion, Ms. Olga Chavez. As you know, Ms. Chavez retired after serving the college for more than 45 years and retired this past July. So with that, Vice Chair Graham, esteemed board members, Dr. Serrata, cabinet members, and honored guests, we'd like to formally present our 9th consecutive HEAT Award to you today.
Congratulations and thank you for all you do.
This is very impressive. At some of the conferences that we've attended, they're just now starting to talk about diversity and, and we've.
Yes, thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you all.
you.
Great job.
I certainly want to thank our Board of Trustees for your support throughout the years in actually garnishing this award, because it certainly takes a whole team to put this together. I was privileged to review the application. I've been doing this for now since I've been over diversity programs. And I can tell you it is extremely detailed, it is extremely intricate, and it's absolutely amazing to see the kind of activities that the team has put together over the years that really has helped us, garnish this award and make us a community college that is diverse and inclusive. So I want to thank Dr. Serrata for his support. I want to thank this team here. Thank you, Dr. Peña, for taking over the area while we are looking at how we're going to handle the structure of diversity and inclusion programs. And certainly not least, Lee Vasquez, our coordinator, and Luz Avila, that really have done a tremendous job, especially during this pandemic. So we do appreciate all the hard work. Thank you very much.
So educate us on what is it that they look for on this application.
So they look for our commitment to diversity in terms of what is it we offer to the community, to our students. How do we support diversity? How do we support inclusion? And so we basically discuss the various initiatives that we present. So we're not talking here just about the Hispanic Heritage Month or the Black History Month, the Women's History Month. We're also looking at any kind of programs that we offer our students that promotes diversity and inclusion. LGBTQ is one of the kind of programs we have offered for the last several years. The Safety Zone program that is also emphasized. But certainly, Mr. Vasquez or Dr. Peña, if you want to add to this, because I'm sure I am forgetting, but certainly large participation from my faculty and staff. Without them, our Diversity Council that certainly provides a lot of ideas on how we can promote diversity and inclusion. So it really has a lot of social value, which is extremely important. It's not just about partying, it's not just about celebrating, but it's also about providing programs that really have a tremendous social value for our community.
Thank you. How about in the human resources area? What do we do to promote diversity? I'll put you on the spot.
No, it's okay. Dr. Graham, we advertise in several diverse publications, mostly virtually. We also participate in several read-ins or conferences or trainings that come our way, either through the SHRM group or the Coupa group, we try to make ourselves as visible. We post positions in various other type of publications that are related to diversity and inclusion.
And do we look at hiring practices as well?
We do. I mean, we look, our evaluation committees for our hiring is both based on gender and ethnicity, as well as the makeup. We try to reflect the population of the college as well as the community. We certainly look to fill positions where we are normally not as representative our community, but as Ms. Shaughnessy mentioned, the faculty and staff have been very supportive of our diversity efforts over the years.
Well, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Item 1.7.2, optional presentations will be made by the presidents of the Classified Staff Association, the Professional Staff Association, the Faculty Association, and the Student Government Association. I believe Ms. Laura Gaither has a presentation.
Welcome.
Good evening, members of the board, President Serrata, staff and guests. My name is Laura Gaither, and I'm president of CSA. The Classified Staff Association had to be creative in finding ways to safely give back to our students and the El Paso community this Thanksgiving. Due to a national shortage in turkeys this season and the ongoing risk with the COVID-19 virus, we decided to make contributions towards different efforts this year in lieu of our annual turkey drive. Our first donation was to Mrs. Alexis Anderson, faculty coordinator in dance, to assist with her efforts in helping female students who find themselves in emergency need of feminine hygiene products. We were able to purchase a variety of feminine products in the amount of $199.88. Our second donation was to the Reynolds House to assist with hygiene products for their infant guests. We were able to purchase diapers and baby wipes in the amount of $192.94. Thank you to Diana Medina, early college counselor, for helping with the delivery of these items. We are grateful to be able to assist the efforts of Mrs. Anderson and the Reynolds House in serving our students and community. Have a happy and safe Thanksgiving. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Good job.
Dr. Burnham, I think, also had a report.
Hi, Albert Burnham, President of the Faculty Association.
Welcome.
Thank you. At yesterday's Faculty Senate meeting, several concerns were expressed by faculty regarding how to proceed next semester. Some faculty favor going back to the way we were prior to the pandemic. They believe the current method of 1/3 of the students meeting on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, or 1/2 of the students meeting on Tuesdays and Thursdays is inadequate for proper student learning, as the students are only in class 1 day a week. These faculty point out that other colleges, including Utep, have gone back to pre-pandemic scheduling. There are a few faculty who would prefer to go back to an all-online format, such as we did last year. This group of faculty cites safety concerns as their primary reasoning and point out that there are COVID issues at campuses that have fully reopened. Other faculty are okay with the way we are doing things this semester. They have made adjustments to their teaching approach and are doing their best in a very unique situation. If this approach is continued next semester, I know I will have to make more adjustments that will hopefully benefit the students. Another group of faculty offer a sort of compromise. They advocate capping classes at the number that can safely be in each classroom according to the college's social distancing guidelines. For example, if EPCC determines that 15 students can safely be in a particular room, cap the enrollment for that class at 15. The students can then attend every class session, be it 2 days or 3 days a week, and thus provide a more proper educational experience. In all of the approaches offered, the faculty of EPCC has as their primary concern the students. Whichever scheduling approach is recommended and approved, the great faculty of Epcc will make the proper adjustments to greater serve the students of our fantastic college. To express some other concerns, of the faculty, I've asked Professor of English Margie Nelson Rodriguez to approach those issues.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, Dr. Serrata and the Board of Trustees. I'm Margie Nelson Rodriguez, and I teach English at the Valle Verde campus. Okay. Like so many other stakeholders, faculty are very concerned about enrollment, and we want to do everything we can to help. For that reason, last spring, the Faculty Senate formed a group to research enrollment and propose recommendations for improvement. Our group has learned that our region has a declining population of under 18 residents and a declining birth rate. We have also explored the effects of dual credit and early college high school expansion on enrollment and interdisciplinary retention strategies. We will implement these retention strategies in the spring 2022 semester. Related to enrollment, some disciplines like English, math, and history are concerned about vacant tenure-track positions that are not being filled due to declining enrollments. We look forward to working with administration on the recommendations and strategies we have developed so far, and we appreciate all their help and support. Thank you.
Thank you, and just know that we discussed this quite a bit, and we're very, very careful about wanting to go back to normal like we all want, but having the safety of our students and staff is a priority. So we appreciate cooperation with whatever the administration recommends. Thank you.
Thank you, trustees, Mr. President, vice presidents, and guests.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, members of the board and Dr. Serrata. My name is Cristina Navarro, and I would like to formally introduce myself as the newly elected student government president. I would also like to invite my fellow student government officials to introduce themselves.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, board trustees, and vice president. My name is Diana Lara. I'm currently the vice president of the Ngcaa, and I'm also an orientation leader in the new student orientation department. I'm currently majoring in accounting, business, and economics, and this is my second year in the institution.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jocelyn Corral. My major is mechanical engineering, and I'm the Rio Grande campus representative. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. I would like to thank you for allowing student government to have a presence in your virtual meetings through the readings of our previous reports, but I must say that I am pleased to meet you all in person. Student government, in conjunction with Campus Life, has been actively encouraging students to get involved. We currently have a goal to register 1,000 students to vote by the end of the spring semester. In addition to that, we have, in collaboration with Campus Life, awarded points to clubs for participation in the Intramural Sports Challenge. These challenges served as a way for students to participate in campus life activities and socialize in a socially distanced manner. Student government has a furniture upgrade in the works for the Valle Verde Student Union. The new furniture selection is inviting, fun, and meets some of the entertainment needs of students who enjoy the facility. Under that same category, student government will meet with the Dean of Mission del Paso to discuss the building of a new student union on that campus. We look forward to providing students on that campus with the same amenities there as well. We're also putting together a blessing bag, which will consist of immediate need items for our local homeless population. Some of the examples of the items that would be included in the bag are socks, snacks, and a few toiletries. These bags will be distributed along with the breakfast platter in memory of Campus Life Representative Raul Hernandez. We are currently planning for the spring graduation dance for our graduates while staying informed on our community's wellness and keeping in mind safety restrictions. I once again want to thank you for the time to allow us to present to you, and we look forward to continuing an audience with Dr. Serrata.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a way we could donate and help you guys with those bags?
Definitely. We have a list right now of the items that we need, and we also have a list of the items that we have accrued. So we would be more than happy to share that list with you.
Perfect. If you could send them to Belle, and then she could forward it to us.
Yes, I will.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Section 1.8, Communications. Item 1.8.1, Discussion and Review by the Board of Trustees of Data, Statistics, Policies, and General Information related to the College District.
This is the fun part.
Members of the board, I've asked Dr. Penley to present some data. I would like to share this responsibility with the cabinet members, and I've asked Dr. Penley to go over a few data points. The team is very good about letting me know when I overstep or when I present too much data. And so Dr. Penley will present a limited amount of data for really your consumption, questions and responses, and I obviously will be available as well. Dr. Penley, please.
Thank you, Dr. Serrata. So this month, I am taking the liberty of stepping back and presenting a little bit more information about our own college and our community and how the two are very closely related, similar in their data patterns. So the first slide that you see presents the general demographics of both El Paso County and EPCC over the last 4 years, fall 2017 to fall 2020. The first two bars in each year represent the male population. So the purple bar represents those individuals in El Paso County that identify as male. The bar to the right of that, the black bar, represents the percentage of El Paso Community College students identifying as male in that semester. And a similar pattern for the two bars on the right in each chunk representing females. And so what you'll see on this slide is a very consistent pattern, both in the county and at EPCC. The population tends to slightly skew in terms of females. That difference or that ratio is more pronounced at EPCC than it is in the county, but again, the trends are very similar for the last 4 years. This slide represents the college going rates for the last 5 years, 2015 to 2019. This represents the percent of recent high school graduates that immediately go on to post-secondary education. So I want to be clear that this does not necessarily mean that they go to EPCC, but they are continuing their education immediately after high school, which, as Dr. Serrata and others have presented in the past, is one of the key indicators to student success and to completion, is that consistent educational journey. So what you'll see here along the y-axis is the percent of the high school graduates, and then along the x-axis again are the semesters. The purple bar represents El Paso County. The black bar in the middle represents state rates, and then the bar on the far right represents the U.S. Population rates. Again, very consistent pattern in the data. What I will point out to the board and to the audience is that El Paso County consistently outperforms the statewide average. Not by much, but I'm going to claim it. And then, but both the county and the state have some work to do in catching up to the national average for post-secondary education immediately after high school.
So that would be my question on looking at the data, because if we look at 2015 and 2019, you know, we don't have much of a difference. So what are we going to do to improve that?
That is a terrific question. And one of the things that I've noticed in looking at this particular data for tonight are very consistent trends. And so that's the next step for Dr. Serrata, for Cabinet, for everyone at the college, is how can we kind of jumpstart some of these metrics. And we do have a preliminary idea to get that conversation going, which I will be happy to share at the end.
Okay, I'll wait.
Okay. I have a schedule. No, I'm kidding. This slide is a little tricky, so I do want to walk you through it carefully and make sure that you understand what I did here. It is a 5-year summary of changes in educational attainment, again, at the county level, at the state level, and at the national level. So these are not percentages per se, they're deltas from where we were in 2015 to where we were in 2019. And at this point, I want to pause and sort of apologize for the gaps in the data. It's a little tricky. I was telling Dr. Serrata, when we have the data internally, it's very easy to produce up to the minute information. When we have to look at external websites, including the U.S. Census, including the Coordinating Board or TEA or other data, it becomes a little bit trickier because we have to wait on others, and they have a lot more data to manage than we might. So with that said, this goes from those 5 years, 2015 to 2019. And along the x-axis, you'll see the different categories that are particularly relevant to EPCC. You've got a percentage of the population with a high school credential or GED. The middle set of bars represents population with some college but no degree. And then the set of bars on the far right represents the associate's degree. And again, these represent changes in the percentage of the population from 2015 to 2019. So I know we're all looking on the bars on the right saying, what is that 41%? But I'm going to go a little bit slower. Starting on the left, for example, between 2015 and 2019, Paso County saw a change in the rate of high school completers or GED completers, a change of 2%. Whereas the national average was down 2.5% for the same period. So just to kind of give you an idea of what these numbers represent. Okay, so going to the far right, because that's where all of our eyes are taking us. 2019 represents a 41% increase compared to 2015 of the number of individuals in El Paso County with an associate's degree. So a lot of that has to do with our dual credit early college high school program, a lot of the efforts that we've done at the college with our traditional students. So as you can clearly see, we have way surpassed the state change in that number, as well as the national number. So we are, I don't think it's an overrepresentation to say we are a leader in that area. So the next steps, Dr. Graham and fellow members of the board, the next steps is we have a bunch of information, as you might expect at the college, a lot of information that we regularly track, monitor, pull, analyze, both internally and from other stakeholders. In order to get to the meat of it, Dr. Graham, I think the next step is for Dr. Serrata and the cabinet to work on establishing benchmarks. We can talk about numbers all day, every day, but I think having that target will help make it a little bit easier for everyone to understand where are our successes and where are our opportunities for growth so that we can move that needle on some of those previous slides. So setting targets will be our next step. Like I said, we've got a lot of information that we're excited to go through with you, our key performance indicators, our financial, economic impact on the community, but that's our immediate next step. Is to set the targets. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions or provide any other information that I can at this point.
Can we make the target 100%? Questions, comments?
Look, John, looking at this graph, we're talking about high school or equivalent, and we're talking about all high schools, correct?
Correct,
Okay,
correct.
and then we talk about some college, no college degree. That's both Utep and Epcc. However, when we look at the last column, if you're talking associates, that deals primarily just as a result of Epcc work, right?
I am not aware of any, well, now, these are members of the population, so it could be, for some reason, somebody left El Paso County, got an associate's degree, and came back. So it's not necessarily that they received their associate's degree at Epcc, it's a population percentage. Just like the college going rate doesn't necessarily mean that they came to Epcc, they just continued their education after high school.
But associate's degree generally are a result of community college work, whereas the other one is all high schools or all colleges.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's a reasonable,
Sure. Okay.
reasonable assumption.
So all I'd share, Dr. Penley did a great job, is that in 2015, the percentage of our residents of El Paso County having an associate degree was 6.8%. The percentage of Texans was 6.9%, and the national average was 8.2%. So 5 years later, the percentage of the United States had gone up to 8.6, the percentage of Texas had gone up to 7.5, and the percentage of El Paso County had gone up 9.6 to 9.6%. So I agree with Dr. Penley. It is the residents, but by and large, Ms. Structure, you're right. We are providing that instruction and those degrees that qualify as associate's degree. So certainly pleased with the progress, not satisfied by any means, but very pleased with the progress.
But what this says is that the 40% nominally is due to Epcc effort.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, that's very good information.
Thank you.
Section 1.9, Board of Trustees Business. Item 1.9.1 through item 1.9.4 will be discussed in executive session. Item 1.10, Board Reports. Item 1.10.1, Treasurer's Report. Item 1.10.1.1 is August 31st, 2021. Item 1.10.1.2, September 30th, 2021. There's no action is necessary. Item 1.10.2.2, Dr. William Serrata, College President, will update the Board of Trustees and audience on recent events that have transpired at the college to include an update on the COVID-19 pandemic and appropriate actions taken.
Thank you, Belle. I briefly want to touch on 1.10.2.1. This is a requirement as part of my report. I will present the 2020-2021 Title IX Annual Data Summary. It is in your packet. It is page 98 of your packet, but want to provide an update with regards to this. So under the Texas Education Code, Section 51.253C, the institution's chief executive officer is required to submit a data report at least once during each fall or spring semester to the institution's governing body and post on the institution's internet website a report concerning the reports received by employees under the TEC Section 51.252. The type of incident described in the employee's report constitutes sexual harassment, sexual assault, dating violence, or stalking as defined in the TEC Section 51.251, and any disciplinary actions taken under TEC Section 51.255. Appendix A, the summary of the data report, indicates based on the number of reports that we received under Section 51.252, subscript 3 is 1. We did not have any confidential reports under Section 51.252. We conducted one investigation under Section 51.252. We did not, we concluded there was the disposition, rather, of any disciplinary processes for reports under Section 51.252. We had none that were concluded, no finding of policy violation. We had one that was concluded with employee disciplinary sanction, zero that were concluded with student disciplinary sanction, so a subtotal of 1, and the total number of reports under Section 51.252 for which the institution determined not to initiate a disciplinary process was 1. Under Texas Education Code Section 51.255, the number of reports received that include allegations of an employee's failure to report or who submits a false report to the institution under Section 51.255A were 0, and we had no disciplinary action taken regarding failure to report or false reports to the institution under Section 51.255C. This is a requirement. We want to make sure that we adhere to this requirement. It is in your board package. Should any member of the board have any further question with regards to this, I'm happy to respond to it, but we wanted to make sure that we've reported this to the Board of Trustees.
I have two questions,
Sure,
sir.
Dr. Graham.
One is, how often is this going to be reported to the board?
Yes, it should be reported to the board, Dr. Graham, once during the fall and once during the spring term, a minimum of once during each the fall and spring term. So we will come back in the spring and we will provide the board with another report, and then in the fall of '22, we will do the same.
And this is very impressive that with such a large number of students and employees that we have this outcome. My question is on Section B, concluded with employee disciplinary sanctions, the 1. If there was no policy violation, why was there any kind of disciplinary action or sanction taken?
Yeah, Dr. Graham, I would prefer to discuss that in executive session, just given that it's an employee. With regards to, despite the fact that we concluded that there was not a policy violation, we just deemed it as inappropriate and still moved forward with disciplinary sanction.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any other questions? But it's very impressive. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Graham. I'll continue, Dr. Graham, and members of the board with my report on events and updates with regards to the institution. El Paso Community College is pleased to announce that it is the recipient of a $50,000 grant from Microsoft Philanthropies to support its cybersecurity program. The funding will be used to procure mentorship and cutting-edge curriculum from the National Cybersecurity Training and Education Center, to build faculty knowledge through Microsoft training and certifications, and to give financial assistance to EPCC students so they may overcome short-term obstacles and complete degrees or certificates in cybersecurity or computing. EPCC's Community Education Program was named an award finalist for the Instructional Programs and Services category for the highly coveted Bellwether Awards. The Bellwether College Consortium announced its list of 30 community colleges selected as 2022 finalists. Bellwether finalists represent leading community colleges whose outstanding and innovative programs and practices were recognized as exemplary. All finalists will be presented at the Community College Futures Assembly scheduled for January 30th, 2022, where one winner will be selected. Mr. Lawrence Welsh, an award-winning author and English professor at EPCC, recently published American Skull, a book of poetry about vast deserts, lost highways, desperate cities, and the borderlands. His poetry, fiction, reviews, essays, as well as journalistic writings have appeared in publications worldwide. Mr. Welsh is an example of how EPCC faculty are dynamic individuals who bring theory and practice to life to inspire students in the classroom. Mario Ulloa, EPCC alum, hosted a solo art show at the International Museum of Art, which started October 2nd and ran through October 31st. El Paso Community College, in partnership with the El Paso Fire Department, offered free flu vaccines at each of the EPCC campuses starting October 29th, which ran through November 4th. EPCC Women won the National Junior College Athletic Association District 5 Regional Championships in Hobbs, New Mexico. The men's team finished second behind New Mexico Junior College. The Tejanos were led by Faith Niati, who finished first, winning the individual championship with a time of 18 minutes and 20 seconds in the 5K race. She finished more than 1 minute and 28 seconds ahead of the field. Twice this season, Faith has been named the National Athlete of the Week. Her teammate Jalen Guerrero finished in second place. The Tejanos were led by Adams Bevoit, who finished first, winning the individual championship with a time of 24 minutes, 52 seconds in the 8K race. This season, Adams was the first men's runner to be named National Athlete of the Week. Teammate Kelvin Chiku finished in third place. Next up for EPCC is the Ngcaa Division I National Championships in Richmond, Virginia on November 13th. Students registered for the spring 2021 semester can qualify for funding to help with tuition and other expenses. EPCC continues to distribute funds to students as part of the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA. This funding is part of the Higher Education Relief Funding, or HERF, made available by Congress to help institutions and students cope from the COVID-19 pandemic financial fallout. EPC students were able to apply for these funds online starting on November the 1st. The El Paso Community College Foundation and EPCC Culinary Arts Program students and faculty are hosting a fall fundraising event on November 18th and 19th benefiting EPCC Student Scholarship. Your purchase of a Pastries with a Purpose package will help you prepare for Thanksgiving and provide scholarship funds for students striving to achieve their higher education goals. Your contribution will be a gift to help an EPCC student succeed, and in return, you will receive specialty pastries, gourmet coffee, beverage mixes with or without branded liqueur, and a collectible coffee mug. The Mission del Paso project has been complete, and we are excited to host a grand opening ceremony on Friday, November the 12th at 11 a.m. We look forward to, pardon me, that is not incorrect. That is correct. It's on the 19th. Thank you so much. We look forward to finally being able to have an EPCC recognition dinner to recognize and celebrate our EPCC faculty and staff awardees from the past 2 years. Since the last board meeting, I've attended over 40 meetings, either virtually or in person. I'm going to start with commencement. December commencement, we will have 2 ceremonies on Friday, December the 10th. Both ceremonies will be at the Don Haskins Center. The first will be at 2 p.m. and will include our Associate of Science, Associate of Applied Science degrees, and our certificates. The second ceremony, which will begin at 6 p.m., will include our Associate of Arts and Associate of Arts in Teaching degrees. We will place diploma covers on the respective graduate seats. We will highly encourage masking and promote social distancing. Graduates will walk on stage and have a mark where they will pose for a picture, which I will also be in on my mark. We'd ask the board members to remain seated as our graduates walk across the stage. We will allow graduates from the 2020 ceremonies to participate should they choose to. We're doing our best to allow our graduates to celebrate their amazing achievement while also maintaining safety. Ms. Emma Swartz will be our commencement speaker. We wanted to invite her back so that she would be able to provide her commencement address in person. I attended the Early Matters El Paso General Meeting. I chaired a SAC COC reaffirmation visit for Northern Virginia Community College, participated on a legislative strategy call with the chair of Community College Association of Texas Trustees, Ms. Carol Scott, attended the Seal of Excellencia announcement in Washington, D.C., along with Dr. Smith and Dr. Amaya, attended the AACC fall meeting in Arlington, Virginia, participated in an interview with Hispanic Outlook, met with our Achieving the Dream coach, Dr. Diane Troyer. I met with John Fitzpatrick, the Executive Director for Educate Texas. Met with Chairman Hunt and Jacob Friday regarding the Community College Finance Commission, which met for the first time yesterday. Mr. Hunt is serving as chair of that commission. They meet in Austin. They will be meeting monthly throughout the intersession. so that they will have a report that will be due to the legislature, I believe, in November of next year, in order to move forward with the legislature in the 2023 session, being able to utilize that report. We're hoping for additional funding. Attended the Future of Work main committee meeting with the Borderplex Alliance. I attended the roundtable on impact on healthcare, education, and economy with Utep President Dr. Wilson and UT System Executive Vice Chancellor Archie Holmes. I participated in the Federal Reserve Board Virtual Higher Education Roundtable. The roundtable consisted of local and regional higher education sector leaders from West Texas as well as southern New Mexico, where we discussed the opportunities and challenges. Dr. Graham, very similar to the questions that you asked Dr. Penley. We're all dealing with some very similar challenges for the higher education sector and the implications for our region and our state. Participated in the Texas Association of Community College Finance Steering Committee meeting. Held an SGA, as you heard earlier, constituency meeting with Ms. Arvis Jones, Director of Student Leadership and Campus Life, Ms. Marilib Gonzalez, and 4 SGA members. Participated in the Texas Student Success Council meeting with Ryan Franklin from Educate Texas, which included Ray Martinez, the Deputy Commissioner for Academic Affairs and Workforce Education for the coordinating board. Participate in cabinet meetings with our college team, discuss planning for the spring given rising cases of COVID. Attended an Achieving the Dream Coach's Exit with Dr. Troyer. I met with SISD Superintendent, Dr. Graham, with Dr. Martha Carmona. I had a good meeting with her. Attended a meeting with the Texas Association of Community College CEO, Jacob Freire, to discuss and prepare for the first meeting of the commission. Attended the Hispanic Chamber event with Emmett Smith being the keynote speaker, along with Chair Haggerty and Ms. Nahida. We missed you, Dr. Graham. Attended an Excellencia evening reception hosted by Dr. Wilson, the UTEP president, to welcome leaders from Excellencia, President Sarita Brown, as well as CEO Dr. Deborah Santiago. Yesterday was fortunate to attend, along with cabinet members as well as deans, the UTEP Epcc transfer agreement signing ceremony, again with special guests from Excellencia, Sarita Brown, and Dr. Santiago. Participated in the Texas Student Success Council fall quarterly meeting. Videotaped an interview today with Ms. Brown for a pending book on Dr. Diana Natalicio. Now I'll transition into our COVID report. Our goal is we continue to measure 5 specific metrics, 14 days of cases, and I say cases as opposed to decreasing cases. We're currently averaging in this 2-week time period 319 cases per day, which is significantly higher than the prior 2 weeks during the time that we averaged 222 cases per day. And it's also higher than the previous 2 weeks preceding that, where we were averaging 126 cases per day, which was the last period of time which we were averaging less than the recommended 212 cases per day for a community our size. The rolling 7-day average has been a significant concern as it continues to be above the recommended 5%, and today it was at 14.07%. The cumulative positivity rate today stands at 9.28%, and has been rising for the last 3 weeks. However, it continues to be below the 10% threshold. The infection rate continues to increase, and we have seen 13 days during the last 3 weeks of exceeding the daily total of 212 cases. We currently stand at 68.8% of our population aged 5 or older that are fully vaccinated, and 82% of our population that has received their first vaccination. To summarize, we continue to see a rise in the average number of daily cases, and for the last 3 weeks, we've been over the recommended 212 cases per day. The infection rate, or the cumulative positivity rate, is beginning to rise. However, it's still below the recommended 10%, and the 7-day rolling average continues to be above the recommended 5% and has remained above 5% for the last 8 weeks. As such, my recommendation is that we continue in phase 2 of our return to campus plan, which we have been in since Monday, August 23rd. As a reminder to the board, phase 2 of our return to campus plan has the college operating at 50% capacity with 100% of the staff participating. I do not believe that the data currently supports us moving forward with Phase 3 of our plan, during which we would operate at 75% capacity with 100% of the staff participating. We will continue to monitor the data and keep the Board of Trustees informed of any recommended changes for your consideration. That concludes my report, Dr. Graham. I'm happy to answer any question from any member of the board.
Well, you're slowing down, because last time you had 80-something meetings and you're down to 40-something.
Dr. Graham, that's true, because I was in DC 2 different times, so that's true.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a lot
I do
of
have a
work.
question.
Please, Ms. Naida.
Are we limiting the amount of guests each graduate can take to the graduation, or is it?
It's a really
an
good
open
question,
invite?
Ms. Nahara. And so what we chose to do, under the advisement of Dr. Amaya, as well as Cabinet and his team, traditionally, we would have one ceremony in the fall. And so what we're going to do is we're going to separate to 2 ceremonies to help parse down the expected attendance. It's really difficult when you have a community event such as a football game where they're at 100% capacity. We're going to be in the Don Haskins Center where they're having basketball games and they're at 100% capacity. So we felt that if we were able to separate into 2 different ceremonies, that would help us parse down the crowd. We're not going to put a requirement that students can only bring in so many guests. We felt that by lowering or by spreading that out to 2 different ceremonies, that we would be able to ensure that we're not at 100% capacity. But it's a great question. We went through that several times as well, the team and I.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Graham.
Thank you, sir. That's a good report.
1.11, consent docket. This includes item 3.2.
You need a motion?
Motion to approve? Second.
Any questions?
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Ms. Nahida.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Section 2, Administration, Item 2.1, to delete existing El Paso County Community College District Board policies that are outdated and no longer needed.
We're making progress. Okay. 2.21.
I believe this is an action item.
Yes. We need a motion.
Move to approve?
Second.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Ms. Nahida.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Item 2.2, TASB CAK policy is presented for first reading, review, and comment.
I have a question on 2.2 and 2.3. Have we had legal take a look at that?
Dr. Graham, yes, for CAK, the Scott Hulse team were very involved with Ms. Shaughnessy's division in drafting the policy that satisfies the legal requirements while also maintaining the integrity of the higher standards that Ms. Shaughnessy's division has set for the investments. Regarding GL, that is not a policy that TASB initially provided. That is a reconfiguration of a current policy that the board has that Dr. Smith felt was important enough regarding advisory committees and community involvement in curricular decisions to retain that information. So Scott Hulse was not consulted, as far as I know, on that policy, but TASB's attorneys did review it to make sure that there were no conflicts with other state laws.
Yeah, 2.2 was quite complicated, so Ms. Shaughnessy, you're comfortable with it? Okay. Thank
Yes,
you.
Dr. Graham.
Good.
And this is with part of the, right, the Texas, like the investment fund, so as the way I understand it, I mean, these provisions are set out in statute. It's not uncommon for a lot of the local governments to have these similar policies and their approach in terms of the investments that they do.
Absolutely.
Right.
Ms. Sanchez, absolutely. And by the way, this also goes through the review of the GTOT, Government Treasurer's Offices of Texas, that reviews it for compliance with what we call the Public Funds Investment Act, but it's really in compliance with Government Code 2256.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Item 2.3, TASB GL policy is presented for first reading, review, and comment.
No action on that.
Item 2.4, TASB DMAA policy is presented for third reading and approval.
I think we were going to take that into executive session, correct, Ms. Marin?
Yes, ma'am.
Section 3, personnel. Item 3.1, discussion and action to approve full-time staff and faculty recruited in the positions funded by the institutional budget.
Just really quickly, I'm sorry, just to go back to the other one. You're so efficient, Val, you were ready to go.
Sorry.
But no, that's okay. For that item, the one that we will consider at item 2.3, the TASB GL policy, are we posted to take that into executive session? I couldn't tell. I know we have quite a few. If not.
No, it
we're-
was the other one.
2.4.
It was 2.4
I'm
that we're
sorry.
taking to executive. The other one requires no action because
Okay.
it's a first reading.
And just to double check, are we posted to take that into executive? Yes, we are. Okay, great. Just wanted to double check on that. Thank you.
Section 3, personnel. Item 3.1, discussion and action to approve full-time staff and faculty recruited in the positions funded by the institutional budget.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Do we have any discussion? No? Okay.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Ms. Nájera?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Item 3.3, information items, resignations, no action is required. Section 4, financial services. Item 4.1, discussion and action on the approval of the renewal of a campus-wide annual support agreement with Oracle America, Inc. in the amount of $676,518.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion? Call the question, please.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Ms. Nájera?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Item 4.2, discussion and action on the approval to renew annual services for portable Wi-Fi hotspot devices from T-Mobile USA, Inc. for online instruction and work at home in the amount of $129,948.
Move to approve?
Second.
Do have just a quick comment. In the
Yes.
backup, it says that the funding is provided by the Higher Education Emergency Relief Fund, so those are part of the federal funding resources that the college is receiving to accommodate the online learning. Is that correct?
All right, Ms. Sanchez.
Okay, great, thank you.
I have a question on this, Dr. Hiron. Have you found that these are very useful? Because in the district, we had some issues with the hotspots.
And Dr. Graham, throughout the country, there were issues with hotspots, right? So we know that, but apparently these have proven to help our students and our faculty and staff.
Okay, thank you.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Ms. Nájera?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Item 4.3, discussion and action on the approval to award a 5-year contract to Barnes & Noble Booksellers, LLC for providing bookstore services.
Move to approve?
Second?
Discussion? No? Okay.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Ms. Nájera?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye. And I think you did a very good job getting this selected. It had a lot of detail that we could look at. Thank you. I don't know who Ruben is.
That is thanks to Mr. Flores and Mr. Flores, Fernie Flores and Juan Flores, who put the abstract together and made sure that the board was very well informed about this procurement process.
It was very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Section 5, physical facilities, there are none. Section 6, curriculum and instruction. Item 6.1, discussion and action on the approval of a contract with CBEESC, Inc. Strut Learning for an adaptive learning management system to support Epcc competency-based education, CBE programming in an amount not to exceed $957,280.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Other question?
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Ms. Nájera?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Item 6.2, discussion and action on the approval of a cooperative agreement from the University of Texas at San Antonio and the U.S. Small Business Administration in the amount of $354,622.
Move to approve 6.2, 6.3, and 6.4.
Second?
6.3, discussion and action on the approval of an emergency medical services agreement with the El Paso Independent School District to teach emergency medical services program, EMSP courses to El Paso High School students in the amount of $15,337. And item 6.4, discussion and action on the acceptance of a grant from the Department of Education Developing Hispanic Serving Institutions Program, Title V Grant, Accelerate My Degree at Epcc in the amount of $2,660,437.
Wow. Okay. Discussion? Questions?
I have a question. Dr. Smith, just out of curiosity, 6.3, EMSP courses to El Paso High School. Is that students at El Paso High, or is that students, El Paso student in the EPISD system? When you say EPISD, are you referring just to that one high school?
No, it's in the district, sir.
Okay, so in other words, we'd read El Paso School District, I guess.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Dr. Smith, I'd be remiss if we didn't ask you to highlight who's behind the $2.6 million grant.
I'd be more than happy to. Yeah, it's probably a name that we've heard in the last several board meetings. Dr. Maisha Pagel is not here with us tonight, but she is listening in on the webcast, so congratulations to her and her team, as well as our grants team, Mr. Bob Elliott, AVP Carrie Moe. They do a tremendous job supporting all of our efforts, and they're bearing a lot of fruit these days. So thank you, Dr. Serrata.
Congratulations, that's a lot of money, and we should have enough to put up a billboard and show the community how much money is coming in from grants and, different proposals that you all are writing.
That's a great idea.
I edited, it was $3,446,831.
Thank you.
Just this board meeting.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Ms. Nájera?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Item 6.5, discussion and action on the acceptance of a grant from the Texas Workforce Commission in the amount of $193,765.
Move to approve 6.5 and 6.6.
Second?
Item 6.6, discussion and action on the acceptance of a grant from the U.S. Department of Labor, DOL, Susan Harwood Targeted Topic Training Program in the amount of $160,000. No discussion?
Discussion?
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Ms. Nájera?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Item 6.7, discussion and action on the acceptance of a grant from the James A. Buddy Davidson Charitable Foundation in the amount of $41,670.
Move to approve 6.7 and 6.8.
Second.
So all I'd ask is Dr. Smith have the opportunity. We like all the grants, large and small, and so certainly want to give you an opportunity to highlight those that are writing these and as successful as they are between 6.5 and 6.8.
Thank you, Dr. Serrata. As you know, we've run the Small Business Development Center at the college for a very long time. Mr. Joe Ferguson, I believe he's in the audience. If you would raise your hand. Thank you so much for the tremendous work that you do there. On the Texas Workforce Commission grant, Ms. Luz Taboada is in the audience. Thank you so much for the work that you and your team are doing on that grant. Mr. Barry Bogle is not here with us today, but he is listening in online as well. And we do have Dean Joshua Villalobos on the geology grant, so thank you to him, and of course Mr. Rob Roba as well. And then on the last grant, we've got Dr. Carmen Aguilera-Gerner, who's sitting in the back there as well. Another familiar name to you. Thank you for the opportunity, Dr. Serrata.
Item 6.8, discussion and action on the acceptance of a grant award from the Texas Workforce Commission in the amount of $21,000. Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Ms. Nájera?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Section 7, Student Services. Item 7.1, discussion and action on the approval of continuing education tuition rates for new courses.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any
Mrs.
discussion? No?
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Ms. Nájera?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Item 7.2, discussion and action on the approval of continuing education tuition rates for revised courses.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Second.
Okay, somebody else.
Any discussion?
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Ms. Nájera?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Section 8, Community Services, there are none. Would you like to go into executive session? The Board of Trustees may conduct an executive or closed session pursuant to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code for one or more of the following reasons. 1, consultation with its attorney to seek or receive legal advice or consultation regarding pending or contemplated litigation or for any purpose authorized by law. 2, discussion about the value or transfer of real property. 3, discussion about a prospective gift or donation. 4, consideration of specific personnel matters. 5, discussion about security, personnel, or devices. Or 6, discussion of certain economic development matters. The board may also announce that it will go into executive session on any item listed on this agenda if the subject matter is permitted for a closed session by provisions of Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. Any vote regarding these items shall be taken in open session. Item 1.3.1, discussion with legal counsel regarding redistricting pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.2, discussion with legal counsel regarding pending litigation styled Daniel Vasquez versus El Paso County Community College District in the 120th Judicial District Court of El Paso County, Texas, cause number 2021-DCV-0212, pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.3, discussion with legal counsel regarding pending litigation styled Rhonda Brown versus El Paso County Community College District in the County Court at Law Number 3 of El Paso County, Texas, cause number 2020-DCV-10 1845 pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.4, discussion with legal counsel regarding legal issues related to policies and procedures, including but not limited to DLB Local, DMAA Local, DEC Local 3.36.01 and 3.38.01, and College Procedure DK-1 and related matters pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.5, discussion with legal counsel regarding personnel matters related to the COVID-19 pandemic, including the Occupational and Safety Health Administration's temporary emergency standard on COVID-19 vaccination and testing, and related matters pursuant to Section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.6, discussion with legal counsel regarding one-time incentive payments to eligible employees pursuant to Section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.7, discussion with legal counsel regarding construction and project management agreements pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.8, discussion with legal counsel regarding exchange of real property located immediately adjacent to Mission del Paso campus between the College and County of El Paso pursuant to Section 551.072 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.9, discussion regarding the exercise of option year for legal services agreement between College and Scott Hulse, PC, pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. The time is now 5:39.
Ready?
It's now 7:57 and the board is back from executive session. We go to item 1.9.1, discussion and take possible action regarding pending litigation styled Daniel Vasquez versus El Paso County Community College District in the 120th Judicial District Court of El Paso County, Texas, cause number 2021-DCV-0212.
No action.
Item 1.9.2, discussion and take possible action regarding pending litigation styled Rhonda Brown versus El Paso County Community College District in the County Court at Law Number 3 of El Paso County, Texas, cause number 2020-DCV-1845, pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code.
No action.
Item 1.9.3, discussion and take possible action regarding policies and procedures, including but not limited to policies DLB Local, DMAA Local, DEC Local 3.36.01 and 3.38.01, and College Procedure DK-1 pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code.
For this item, there was backup provided in the exhibit, but we're asking on page 1 of that policy that we change the language from with to without, and then change without to with. And then throughout the policy that was provided in the backup, we change throughout the policy Executive Director of Human Resources to Executive Director of Employee Relations and Compliance. And so it would be to approve, subject to those changes as described.
So the with and without is only with regard to the suspension with pay and suspension without pay.
Okay, if that could be included in the record?
I think that needs to be, microphones.
I forgot that he told me I had a microphone. Just a point of clarification on page 1, changing with to without and without to with is only with regard to the suspension with pay and suspension without pay.
Yes, thank you. Did you get that? Is it okay?
So that's a motion?
We have a
I'll second.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Ms. Nájera.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Item 1.9.4, discussion and take possible action regarding personnel matters related to the COVID-19 pandemic, including the Occupation and Safety Health Administration's emergency temporary standard on COVID-19 vaccination and testing and related matters pursuant to Section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code.
No action?
Item 1.9.5, discussion and take possible action regarding one-time incentive payments to eligible employees pursuant to Section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code.
Thank you. My motion would be for this item would be to apply the rules and parameters regarding the one-time incentive payment as discussed in executive session.
Second.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Ms. Nájera.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye. And our next board meeting is scheduled for December the 9th
At 4 p.m.
at 4 p.m. Thank you all,
Thank you.
and have a very happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, Dr. Graham. Thank you, Ms. Sanchez, Ms. Nájera.